Namaste. Since we were not able to do meditation last time due to the connection problems, let us do meditation today. Pratarsmarami Hridi Samspuradaatmatattvam Satchit Sukham Paramahamsagatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptamavaiti Nityam Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangaha. I meditate on the truth revealed by our Shastras in the form of the example of the ocean and the waves. I meditate on seeing the reality of that example in my life, for my life. The example of the ocean and the various waves in it shows that the waves are never separate from the water. The waves are not part of the ocean. Like the bricks are part of a house. I meditate upon Brahman, the consciousness the conscious entity, Chetana Vastu. Brahman is consciousness. I am that conscious entity. Brahman and I are not two separate entities. They are one and the same. I am not conscious. I am not merely aware. I am the consciousness. I am awareness. I am aware of my mind. I am aware of the instruments of my body. The ability to see, the ability to touch, the ability to walk, I am aware of this complex of the mind and body. I am aware of the external world, which is grasped by my mind and body complex. I am aware of the expression of my awareness, the formfulness of my body-mind complex. Yes, I am aware of it. This body-mind complex is as though contained in me. But while I am fully aware of these two entities, my own personal mind, senses, body, and the life-giving prana, as one entity, and the world that this entity perceives as another entity, while I am aware of all this, I am still awareness. This being the case, I meditate upon myself as an ocean of consciousness. I am the very ocean of consciousness. I am aware of my personal projection as though as a wave. I am aware of that. I enjoy the ability to project myself as a given wave. A wave that lasts up to 100 years, changing, playing, interacting, functioning, like a wave that has a manifold appearance. I'm aware of my body-mind complex, similarly very active. and even has some interaction, even some relationship with the other waves. But all the time, I am the ocean of consciousness. I have the ability to be conscious, but even during this ability to witness, I am the very nature of awareness. Even though the wave is changing, it sometimes is and sometimes is not, as in sleep. But I as consciousness am the nature of always being. I meditate upon myself as the ocean of consciousness. As an individual called Jiva, up to now, I was fully engaged in looking at myself as a wave, changing, playing, having different thought patterns, happy, unhappy, but now with the help of the teaching from the Shastras, I, the Jiva, begin to see that I am forever the ocean of consciousness. This is something which I always have been, but never paid attention to it. Now, with the help of the teaching, I appreciate that even though I act like a wave, I am always the ocean of consciousness, unlimited, unchanging, having no boundaries, having no birth, no end, always happy, the ocean of consciousness, the very content of Ishvara, consciousness is Brahman. I am Brahman. I am Atma Brahman. I may find it hard to believe in the beginning, but this is the spiritual authority. Mandukya Upanishad says, I am Brahma, I am Atma Brahman. There is only one ocean of consciousness. I am that ocean. May I meditate upon often meditate upon removing my false total identity with the wave, and to discover my true identity as the ocean of consciousness. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let us start our class. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bhed Vibhagine Vyomavatyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukarastvandhakaro Vai Rukarastvanivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvat Gururityabhidhiyate Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया आस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरि विश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय ॐ शान्तिः 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 अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्मृतमस्मि द्रविणगुं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति 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 ॐ आप्यायन्तु मम अङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुः श्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्तिः 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 वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य मानि स्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधितेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 भद्रं नोऽपि वातय मनः ॐ शान्तिः 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 भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः Swasti nah pusha vishvavedah. Swasti nastarksho arishtanemihi. Swasti no brihaspatirdadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yo Brahmanam vidadhati purvam. Yo vai vedamscha prahinoti tasmai. Tam hadevam atma buddhi prakasham. Mumukshur vai sharanamaham prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right. So let's continue on with the Alata Shanti Prakaranam. And what we were discussing last week was that Gaudapada had summarized his entire Karika, which is so highly regarded by the scholars of Vedanta. So we're very fortunate to study this. This is just a start. You'll have to really absorb it and imbibe it in your life as you go along. Read it again and again. This is not something that one can just do it once. But anyway, the structure of the Karika, having all of the Agama Prakaranam, Vaitatya Prakaranam, Advaita Prakaranam, and now the Alata Shanti Prakaranam, which Swami Paramarthananda had summarized for us, was segmented into three parts. The fourth chapter I'm talking about is segmented into three parts. So the first part, which was really masterfully done by Gaudapadacharya ji, is to establish by logic and by our experience that there is actually no real creation in the whole environment, whole world. We talk about creation in a very relative way. We talk about it in a real way, but the real way is really just relative way. And so he calls a spade a spade. Very bold statement, tough statement. Because everybody is feeling it. How can you say that? We see the creation. Well, and so I think he established that methodology of thinking, which we need to aspire to, that if you really analyze it, none of the possibilities of, let me make sure that there was a phone call, there's nothing wrong, everything is okay. So the possibilities, we have to be negated one by one. Because he all said that if something is created, was it there before or not? If it was not there, nothing substantial comes out of nothingness. If it was already there, then it was not created. So like that, he had given all this argument. And the first segment of the Alata Shanti Prakaranam was to firmly establish the non-creation of the entire universe. And there the conclusion was, Swami Paramarthananda so very nicely concluded this. This is his specialty, how he picks up the structure of the teaching and gives it a certain form. And the four forms were that the existence of the world is negated, is to be negated, should be negated. The origination of the world is to be negated similarly. The appearance of the world is accepted, and the appearance of the world due to the Maya Shakti, the pretend Shakti, the ignorant Shakti that all of us have is to be accepted. These are the four things that was the basic 4-point structure of the first segment of the Alada Shanti Prakarana. Okay, so this was number one. Then the second segment, which we are now currently doing, look at the master stroke of Gaudapada Acharya ji on doing this. First you establish the basis of the logic. Then in the second segment, he answered this question as to, but what about what I see? Yeah, we understand it logically, but it doesn't seem to jive with my experiences of life because I'm dealing with problems of everyday life. What about that? So then the second segment is the application of the first segment. And here the application of the second segment was based upon the fundamentals of Mandukya Upanishad. And in a way it's interesting that Gaudapada Acharya ji, of course he is the avatara of Ishvara. You cannot have these kinds of basic fundamental visions of the life unless you are a very special person. Just imagine that. All we are worried about is meals and coronavirus and so on and so forth. But this kind of a thing where you have an analysis of the very existence, who we are, and what's happening to us, what is this whole world about, has to be is a very special person to do that. And so this, it's an avatara. Avatara means that only the vision of Ishvara in the form of this subtlety has to be provided. Anyway, what I'm saying is that Gaudapada Acharya ji is a very special person. Now, being a very special person, just consider this. On which Upanishad would he write the Karika? Now, there's thousands of Upanishads, out of which there used to be thousands, now there are only hundreds left because of the Shruti, because it was never written down, it was all communicated from person to person, and so naturally there was a lot of loss of memory, and not everybody could recall it and so on. And you don't need to. So the Upanishads are different ways of looking at the same truth. And at the current, I don't know the exact number, but they say that 108 Upanishads are quite easily and completely available. And I have a 3 or 4 volume, I think it's a 4-volume book anyway, which has the 108 Upanishads and their meanings in Hindi. I've had this for about 10-12 years, and I have studied about 4 or 5 other Upanishads other than the ones that we are familiar with. Anyway, all I'm saying is that Gaudapada Acharya ji had a choice of which Upanishad to write the commentary on, and he chose the Mandukya. This shows something. And we can get a glimpse on why he chose the Mandukya. And we have already talked about this before, and that is that the Mandukya is the Upanishad that distills down the truth that we need to really focus on. This is a distillation and a sense, the essence of the whole thing. And what is that? What, after we look into all the other aspects about, what is jiva and what is jivatma and what is mithya, and we technically equip ourselves with the lingo of Vedanta. This is an important thing. So for example, if you were to study computer science, you have to understand the lingo of computer science. What are the basics of it? So when you talk about a mouse, in computer science, it has a very technical meaning. It is not the mouse that runs around. It is a different thing altogether. And so you have to be aware of that. Only then you can design computers and deal with it and apply it and use it. So similarly, we equip ourselves with the lingo of Vedanta through the study of various Upanishads, like for example, Kosha, Mithya, and all these are technical words that we must be familiar with. Having done all that, what is the distillation of ideas that we should now focus on for the rest of our life? And this is very simply and effectively presented by Mandukya. And this is a description of the basic design given by Ishvara. We have to appreciate. We are busy with leading our life, our jobs and food and children and all those kinds of things, which is very natural. But if you were to sort of distill your life down into its basics that you have to focus on for your own good, really, it's not as though it's not an option. This is, sometimes the word Vedanta, which is called Vedasya Antaha, which means the end of the Vedas. And Swami Dayananji also had explained this very early on in our teachings, that it is not the physical end of Vedanta, but it is the essential aspect of Vedanta. Once you process everything, what is left behind, it's kind of like the ashes that you put on your because when you burn things, what is left behind is the essence of what that thing is. This is the ashes. So Vedanta is the ashes of the whole Vedas. The entire Vedas, the essence of it is Vedanta. And the essence of Vedanta is Mandukya. And this we should appreciate, that we are so busy with our lives, with all these other things, but Ishvara has given us a fundamental design which we should really think about. And what is that fundamental design? Each of us I'm just repeating myself, you already know this, I'm just drawing your attention to it. Each of us is starring in 3 movies. We are busy in starring. Starring means we have a major role to play. We play a major role in 3 movies at all time. And all 3 movies are developed in 24-hour segments. So just like you have a movie that has a location shot, and then they say, okay, now today's work is done, now please go home. and we'll assemble again tomorrow. So the next day the same thing happens where the set is reassembled. It must be quite a challenge to make sure that things don't move, the lamps are at the same place as before and all of that. And then the actors all have to wear the same makeup as they did before, and they have to have continued the next episode. I don't know how they do this. This must be really something. So that when it's all put together, it looks like a complete movie. This is what we are doing. We are starring in a movie for ourselves during the day, and then we are tired and we take a rest. That segment of the shooting is over. Then the next segment starts tomorrow. In the meantime, as I had mentioned to you before, we are not content, and this is Ishvara's design. Ishvara might have said, okay, I think just one movie is enough at one time. No, he says 3 movies at the same time, for a reason. And this reason is the important one that we have to study. Why Ishvara has 3 of them movies at the same time, 24 hours, 3 movies, is because of the second segment of Karika. And that is, as you know by now, the lingam. It is like, this is like the Easter egg hunt, which just recently took place on the 1st of April, I think. And so the Easter egg hunt from the Western standpoint is that the little children are asked to assemble these beautiful colored eggs that somebody has sprinkled around the house, and so the children have to be a certain age. When you're already 7 or 8 or 9, then it is no longer a game. But if you're about 4 or 5, that's a beautiful game. You have to sort of look around, and you can find frustrations in these kids. No, I cannot find anything. So some clues are given. Clues are, hey, look behind the sofa. So the child says, sofa, okay, which sofa? Okay, all right. Oh yeah, I found it. Then he gets frustrated again. Then he says, no, look behind the chair. This is called lingam. So as we had mentioned this example that we gave last time, that the reason we cannot find unlimited happiness is because we don't know where to look. This is the issue. As we saw in the meditation, I am so involved in seeing myself as a wave that I miss the basic aspect that I am the ocean of consciousness. And excuse me. So the lingam is important. And those 3 movies, Ishvara has sprinkled the lingam in the form of our dream experience. And this is what we have to really focus on. All said and done, the distillation of my life is all about is to now focus on the comparison between the dream state and the waking state. This is what we have to do. And there is no choice in this. There's no another method. Should I look for some other way? Maybe. But this is the best way. This is the best way. In fact, I was just thinking about it. The word Upanishad and you're already all familiar with this, I'm just reminding you of this. The word Upanishad, as you know, has two prefixes, Upa and Ni. Upa means close to me, and Ni means definite. Then Shad, which is a transformation of Sat, the Sat Dhatu. And the Sat Dhatu has 4 or 5 meanings. All of them are important. One of them, this is the Paniniya Sanskritam. So the Sanskritam, which is a language of where Vedanta is made out of, is carefully designed for that purposes. So one of the meanings of Sat is Shithali Karoti. Shithali Karoti means the one that loosens the hold of samsara. It loosens. You know, it's something like when you have something which is already has been buried solid for hundreds of years, like a stone. You cannot just immediately take it out. What you have to do is to loosen it. And first of all, even you don't even know whether it can be loosened or not. But suppose you see the profile of the stone and say, yes, this is a stone that can be loosened from the earth. I want to remove this. Then all the construction workers, first they shake it and loosen it. And once it is loosened, then they can put a crowbar underneath it and then lift it. Otherwise it won't work. So Shithali Karanam as part of Upanishad is a very important aspect of the way to really reach moksha. And how is this? So what happens is, why am I saying this? Why is this example? Because the hold of this world on me looks unshakable. Means that my assessment that I am just a limited human being is unshakable. You just ask anybody, just grab hold of your best friend who has a lot of respect for you. Best friend who really likes you, has a lot of respect for you. You are an older mentor, let's say. And you get hold of that person and say, did you know you are not a limited person? What will that person say? They'll say, what have you eaten today? You're not serious, are you? Anyway, let's talk about something really important, not this that I'm not a limited person. He'll laugh at you. So the hold of the whole world is so firm that you cannot remove it right away. You cannot say you're not a limited person. Then what? You have to loosen the hold first. Shithali Karanam. So the Upanishads do this. So the Upanishads do this in stages. And what is that Shithali Karanam? You start, and these are the hints that Ishvara has given. You have to start examining the similarity of Swapnavastha and Jagratavastha. And then slowly see the truth of it. So, Gaudapadacharya ji knows this very well. So, he has already given the first segment where the non-creation of the world has been established. In the second segment, he has now said, okay, now that you understand, at least you are open to understanding. Maybe you don't completely understand, but maybe you are at least open to understanding that there is no creation. At least entertain that. Don't laugh it off. Then start to apply it towards this lingam, which is the similarity between the dream and your waking state. And if you do that, there is a possibility you will actually make a lot of progress, and the progress would mean to see your experiences as mithya. Because until I see that as something which is an appearance, not a reality, my life has a hold on me that I cannot get out of. This is what has to happen. And the way to do that is to really look at the comparison. Anyway, I'm spending a lot of time on this just to make sure that the right amount of understanding and emphasis is given. Yes, I'm doing it for myself. I'm not just doing it for you. It's not as though I now already know that the world is mithya, but this is the process all of us have to go through. So therefore, this segment of I forget the actual verses that it started, but the second segment, which we are in the middle of, is to now apply the lessons of non-creation towards a comparison between the dream state and the waking state. This is the segment we are in. Okay? And so there, one should say that even though these things were mentioned in the earlier Karikas, the Vaithatya Prakaranam in particular has already visited all this. But to underscore the importance of it, and also another thing, in the Vaithatya Prakaranam and Advaita Prakaranam, the non-creation of the world was mentioned but not fully explained. So this fourth Karika is to now saying, because when they were mentioned, we had a lot of things that we saw in the first three Karikas. But then what is the essential thing that we have to distill down to is now being presented in the fourth Karika. Hey, this is when a wise person, these teachers, these rishis, these avatars of Ishvara, when they compose something like a text or number of verses, and there's a lot of thought behind it. How should I do this? What to emphasize? How do I summarize? What are the main things that I should do? This is the skill. And so now, even because if we don't understand this, then we can say, well, haven't we done this before? Why are we doing this again? No. If we are wise, we will be patient and revisit it, and to make sure that I fully understand it. If nothing else, just for seeing what the emphasis is. Where do I have to really drill down to in my life? Anyway. So with that rather long explanation, let us proceed on. So there in the verse number 35, which I think we already had started to do last week, and I think we will again have to revisit it next week. This is not going to be complete today. The method of comparing the dream state and the waking state is now being pointed out. And it all stems from the fact, the method of presenting all these comparisons stem from the fact that we have a predisposition. A normal human being has a predisposition. And that predisposition is that the waking state is real and the dream state is not. This is our predisposition. Vedanta and Gaudapada says this is not the correct predisposition. You may have a predisposition, but this is not the disposition that you should proceed to. Then what? You should proceed to the disposition. My goodness, I didn't realize that they are about the same. There are some differences. So, for example, the differences are that in a dream state, the movie is over. Then you have to start a brand new movie. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. You see? So in a dream state, you are starring, as I said, you're acting in all multiple movies at the same time. But in a dream movie is kind of like what do they call it? Not the trailer, but it's kind of like a small segment, like a half-hour segment on something. Like recently I saw a half-hour segment on the river Ganga, and half-hour segment. That's it. It's over. So the dream is a movie which is over. Then a new movie starts. In fact, the new movie starts on the same night. You have several movies. Some of them are connected. Sometimes you feel, my gosh, that dream went on and on and on. Even though they are small segments, but usually they are different. Whereas in the waking state, this movie continues on for 80, 90 years. It's a serial. So what? There are differences, but the similarity is the more important thing. The similarity is that in all movies you have the appearance of as though this is true, but it isn't. You are Turiya, the actor, not the role. And the role becomes as though it's the actor. The two gets kind of mixed up together. Where there is a role, where there is an actor, we don't know. They do a good job. But the similarities are that they are both roles. So that's what we say is that our predisposition of saying, oh no, that is the dream is the... You cannot compare that, it's because that's gone. That's not the reality. So it says that listen, please at least be open to it. If this is for your good, my dear person, Vedanta says this is for you. If you want to dismiss it, which is what it is done in 99% of the cases, go ahead and do it. But don't you see it's not solving your problem? If you want to solve your problem, then go in deeper into it. And there it says that listen, when you are, this is the basic statement which is made, that please see that when you are in the dream, you don't think you are in the dream. This is the basic thing. We have to really This is what we have to really think about. If we have to leave aside everything else, this is the key. When we are in the dream, we are not saying, oh, this is just a dream. No. In fact, the first thing that happens is that you become a dream character with a personality, with a form. This is the first thing that happens. Then you want to look around and saying, okay, what's going on around me? That person is good, this person is bad, this is danger, this is friendliness. All those kinds of things happen later on. But first you manufacture yourself. And then all those other things happen. Like, for example, Swami Paramarthananda pointed this out so well. He says, you know what? There's a line he says, he looks at the dream world as objectively existing, not only for himself but for the others. He will think that even if he dies in the dream world will continue for others. This is a very important statement. Because, you know what? We think that this world is going to continue even after I die. And this is a factual assessment of a waking person. But you know what? The same factual assessment occurs in this dream character. Same thing. It's just that we are not the dream is not long enough to pursue that. But while we are dreaming, we are saying, you know, my goodness, I am in a bad shape. I think I'm going to... you can dream that you're being victimized by coronavirus. Oh my goodness, if I get attacked, then I'm done. Well, I hope that others that don't get attacked, they can live for a long time. Wonderful, that is good. So you have the same assessment. You have objectivity for others, and you're saying, okay, that something should happen to me, but at least the rest of it can go on. Same thing. No difference. So really, this is the essence of it. That while you're in dream, here Swami Maheshananji also points out, he says, you know, so the Sukha Dukkha means that our experiences of happiness and unhappiness, experiences of eating ice cream and having fun and so on, and experiences where you get hurt and your muscles get strained or you break a bone or something. So bad experiences, good experiences are a result of your previous karma, papa karma or punya karma. When they fructify, this is what happens. So the point is, Swami Maheshananji says that this is true for both Jagrat Avastha as well as Swapna Avastha. So you have Sukha Dukkha in Swapna Avastha also, in the dream state also. And the Sukha Dukkha in the dream state is also the result of your Papa Karma and Punya Karma. So they actually fructify in two directions. Your Jagrat Avastha as well as your dream Avastha. They are identical. And you find sometimes, for example, that you wake up with saying, my gosh, that was That was not a good night because I had some nightmares. And so those are results of karmas that have to fructify. And now, of course, it is nice that you dismiss it and you say, "Oh, well, I'm very happy that that is gone." But while you were there, you suffered. The assessment that it is now gone is only after you wake up. But while you were there, and again, so if it's a bad movie, then at least the movie is over. Whereas this movie, it continues for a while. So there are some differences. But the essential aspect of them are exactly the same. So this is the point, that the more we investigate, the more, because we have a predisposition, as I mentioned before, that no, let's not talk about the dream. That doesn't make it. My problems are with my life. How do I solve that? Well, the way to solve that is to see that this is just like a dream too. And the sooner you see it, well, how do I see it? You see it by saying that what appears to be a dream after it is over, while you are doing it, while you are dreaming, is exactly the same as this. So what does it do? That means do not see this as reality. Okay, how do I do? Okay, I don't see this, but I don't know what else to do. It looks like a reality to me. Start the process. Shake it. Shithali karanam. Loosen it. Start it. It's not going to come off right away. But don't continue in the dream as though it is real. At least start questioning it. And as you do, then you will see that it builds up, it accelerates. And if you really are, the word used in Vedanta is dhiraha. The word dhiraha is an important word. Dhiraha means that one who ramante, one who revels in wisdom. In fact, it has two different meanings of it. So Maheshananji spends a lot of time analyzing this word, and at some point we will do that. But basically there are two derivatives of the word dhiraha. One is courage and the other one is wisdom. Courage and wisdom is dhiraha. Courage means the ability to withstand the problems of life and to reject them. To go on a path which is the right path, even though it is going against the grain. That courage. A lot of issues come up. People criticize. Your family also criticizes. What are you doing? You're not spending any time with us. You got your own personal agenda. You have to have a smile inside and say, I'm sorry, but this I have to do. Inside, you don't have to tell them. You say, okay, I'll spend less time with Vedanta, more time with you. All those big parties, this, that, or the other, useless stuff. This is the dhiraha. And the other part is the wisdom. It is not easy to understand. And to have the commitment to really look into it is the dhiraha. So going back to it means that really, if you are serious and if you want to really do this, this is the way to do it, is to start the process of loosening the hold of life. And the way to do that is, even though you don't see it as mithya now, begin the process. And one of the very important processes, the lingam, just like that example that the policeman says, you don't know how to look for the cow, my dear fellow. I am experienced in that, so follow me. This is easy. So that process is that you dwell on with like this. This is the picture of, they all show this picture as a thinker. And is it Aristotle or Archimedes or somebody? This is the Western picture with both of this supporting. I like that picture. This is the picture you have to have to really think about it. And what we have to think about is that do not dismiss the dream as a fiction, inconsequential fiction. Don't waste my time. Tell me about my real life. There's no real life. It's all fictional life anyway. And the way to do that is to get into the comparison of the two as being essentially the same. So again, I ended up spending giving you an overall picture. And so I was hoping to do more, but then so I think having done so, we will quickly go through. I won't spend a lot of time on the individual aspect, although there are some important things to see in terms of the detail of the comparison between the dream state and the waking state. There are some important things to see. These are arguments given by Gaudapada Acharya ji, and so we have to see that. So we will continue on this, but I think we'll be able to go a little bit faster. Then after this section is over, and I think verse number 40 something, 43, 44, let's see. Somewhere there. Then the third segment, which is what the chapter is famous for, called Alata Shanti, which means the example of the firebrand, will be given. And so we will start on that, and that will be the end of the fourth Karika. And I was trying to visualize how long this will take. I'm not sure yet. I'm not going to just race through this. So we will complete it as necessary. Then what I want to do is to go back and revisit the Mandukya Upanishad. And one of the reasons I want to do that, all revisions are good anyway, there are certain segments of the Upanishad that have been clarified and commented on by Swami Maheshananji as part of his Panchadashi, which I studied much later after I studied the Upanishad. And I want to bring in those points as a clarification, like the word pragyana ghanaha. And this was done in the 11th chapter when I was studying the 11th chapter to teach the class on happiness. Some of the aspects of the Mandukya Upanishad, not Karika, were brought out that were wonderful. And I think it'll be good for me to share that with you. And so after we complete this Karika, we will revisit the Upanishad for a short time. And it won't take a long time, but they will take a few classes. And then we will have completed this whole thing. My guess would be we are looking at least a couple of months. So about 8 or 9 classes, perhaps a little bit more before we complete this. So that's kind of where we are looking at. All right, so we'll close the class today and see if you had any questions. So let me do a prayer and then we will stop. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Kshobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhaya Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Surendra asks, Adi Shankaracharya ji commented on 10 Upanishads. Did Swami Gaudapada write Karika on Mandukya only or any other Upanishad? Mandukya only. There's only one Karika. And it is a testimony to the depth of the understanding, the completeness of the understanding of the Karika, that in the Advaita Vedanta, there is only one Karika. Nothing else has been designated as Karika. So Karika means, the word Karika means, because there are differences in the various, there is the Karika, there is Bhashya, and there is all those other kind of things. But the Karika means that it is written in a verse form, and it does not conform to a commentary on the original work on a word by word basis. You see, so for example, Shankaracharya wrote a bhashya on the Upanishad. So when you write a bhashya, what you do is you will first state the verses, the words in the verses, and then comment on it. And also bhashya is prose. Whereas a karika, even though it focuses on a text, and here the text is Mandukya Upanishad, but it has an independent work which is complete by itself. It is not a translation of word for word, you see. And also it is done in a verse form for memory purposes. So it means is that it is a sense of completion. It's an independent work in that way, but it is not truly independent because it is really meant for the subject matter which has been brought out by Mandukya Upanishad. So this is the Karika. And there is no other Karika in the Advaita Vedanta. There is a Karika which is written by, I forget the person who wrote it, for Sankhya philosophy. So we have already studied the Sankhya philosophy, remember? As part of the Alata Shanti Prakaranam also, that, and even other one, that the Sankhya, because there the Sankhya, and so this is called Satkaryavada, and the Asatkaryavada were the Buddhists. So in the Sankhya we saw that Prakriti is an independent source and Purusha is an independent source. There are multiple Atmas, all those kinds of funny things. And so this is called Sankhya. So there is a Karika written in the Sankhya. But here's the thing. The Karika is available, but the original Sankhya text on which the Karika was based on is not available. So that available, Sankhya Karika is available. So that's the only other what is called Karika. But in the Vedanta Shastra, in the Advaita Vedanta Shastra, there is only one Karika, which is the one that we are studying. Narayan says this is the sculpture at Stanford. I think that that may be the sculpture at Stanford, but you've seen the pictures of it, of this kind of a thing. I've seen. I think you can see that. But yeah, it may be the sculpture at Stanford also. So Suvarna Banjara says, yes, we definitely need more clarification. So revisiting Mandukya after the Karika will reveal more secrets. Thank you. Yes, I think we will do that. Rani also asks the same question. Has Swami Gaudapada Ji written any other texts? No. This is the only text that we are aware of. And Kalyan Raman asks, when we use the swapna as a linga for realizing we bring the world, body, nature, emotions into existence, does it lead to a similar conclusion about the gross world we see when we are awake? Yes, of course. Yeah, so the gross world and the body-mind complex are interrelated. And so the reason for the body-mind complex is that you actually do experience the gross world. So those are a pair, right? So as a perceiver, you see the world. So this is an interesting thing, because the design of the five senses is coupled with the five types of reality, the so-called reality of the world. So if there is no forms to be seen, you will not have an eye to see it. So those are given a coupling by Ishvara. So, but in any way, in answer to your question, yes, the same issues related to the body-mind complex can also apply to the external world. Yeah. I think as we conclude this, which I'm going to mention in the next class also, one thing you may want to consider is that if you have any questions that we don't have time to look into in the short time that we have, you may want to send me an email ahead of time. And so I can actually use this time to answer any questions that you have in more detail. So that is something you may want to consider. But if not, then we will call it a day. And thank you. We'll see you next week. Om.